Hello and welcome to a special interview on the election results announced earlier today with one of the most senior leaders of the Congress party, former Law Minister and former Human Resource Development Minister, Kapil Saibal. Mr. Saibal, let's focus on the result that has truly astonished, if not astounded, the country. The BJP has won in excess of 320 seats out of 403 in Uttar Pradesh. Would you accept this is a tectonic shift in politics, which will have huge implications for BJP and Mr. Modi, for the opposition, and for Indian politics as a whole?
Well, I won't go that far, but it's certainly a tsunami for which they must be congratulated. I think that Modi and Amit Shah deserves the praise for having given their party such an astounding verdict. I wouldn't comment at this stage on what impact it will have on the polity of this country, because I think this country is far too complex for one state or the result in one state to impact the rest of the country.
Except for the fact that this is the biggest state with a population of 200 million, a state that if it were an independent country would be the 7th largest. Clearly, what happens in UP is going to dominate Indian politics in its impact.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll have any impact in Tamil Nadu. I don't think it'll have any impact in Andhra Pradesh.
Let me give you one reason why it will have an impact. It's quite clear that in winning 320 plus seats in UP, Mr. Modi has got substantial votes from the Muslims and the Dalits. Those were two constituencies that were said to be opposed to him, that wouldn't vote for him. He's charmed them. That's a huge change.
That's not true. In Punjab, he doesn't have the Dalit vote.
But he does in UP.
But I'm saying, you say that he has the most support of Dalits all over the country, but in Punjab,
I didn't say all
not.
over the country. I'm saying
no,
in
you
UP.
you said it's an impact all over the country. So if that's true, then the Dalits all over the country would vote for him.
You don't think it's significant that Dalits and Muslims in UP have voted probably very substantially for Mr. Modi?
Karan, I didn't say it isn't significant. You said that it will have an impact in the rest of the country.
In due course, surely it will.
I don't know. I mean, that's where I do not think that your statement is necessarily accurate.
But it could be.
Well, so anything could be.
When you do find that sizable sections of Dalits, which is something like 21% of UP, sizable sections of Muslims, which is something like 19% of UP, are voting in substantial numbers for a party that up till then they had looked upon as someone they would never vote for, that in due course of time, not immediately, will have an impact on Dalits and Muslims across the country.
I don't know, Karan. I think if you really look at this election, and let's reflect on it, what was the agenda of the BJP in Uttar Pradesh? One minister said, if we come to power, we'll impose curfew in this area. And yet the Muslims voted, according to the polls. The Prime Minister talked about Kabristan, Shamshan Ghat. He said, Ganga Ma has called me. He was seen doing Aarti. There was no development agenda discourse in this election.
So what's the point you're making?
So the point I'm making is, obviously they had completely polarized the polity.
Well,
completely. But that doesn't explain the enormous victory, because it is beyond polarization.
The victory is beyond polarization, but even if you look at the fact that substantial numbers of Muslims and Dalits voted for the BJP, polarization wouldn't have stopped them. Polarization should have stopped them. It didn't. Yet they voted for the BJP.
That's why I can't understand the outcome.
And the second thing, the polarization, the Kabristan Shamshan Ghat speeches, the Kasab comparisons happened from the 4th phase onwards. For the first 3 phases, they once said BJP was campaigning in terms of development, and it won sweepingly in the first 3 phases as well.
It wasn't campaigning. First 3 phases had Muzaffarnagar and other places. It wasn't campaigning on the basis of development. Development was not on the horizon at all.
Okay, let me put it like this. Mr. Modi has won practically 80% of the seats in the state, well over 80% of the seats he contested. In contrast, Congress has won under 6% of the seats you contested. This is your worst performance in UP.
Absolutely.
You're reduced to single digits, and even in your strongholds of Amethi and Rai Bareli, you're shattered.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. So I'm saying it's an astounding victory. I'm recognizing that fact. I still cannot analyze, unless, of course, we do a very in-depth analysis of what happened. But it's an astounding victory, and he has to be congratulated. I'm only saying what impact this will have in the rest of the country, that question is still open.
And you don't believe that even though there were elements of polarization, if I've understood you correctly, that polarization explains this.
No, I don't think so. I think this is beyond polarization.
So this is therefore then, I presume, a positive vote for Mr. Modi because people believe in what he's saying.
But then if that's the case, there should have been a positive vote in Punjab, there should have been a positive vote in Goa, there should have been a positive vote in Manipur. It hasn't happened.
Except that Mr. Modi personally invested his personality and his image and his reputation in UP in a way he didn't in Goa or Manipur.
Because
or
it's a
Punjab.
smaller state. You're talking about, 117 seats in one state and 403 in the other. So he invested 4 times as much in the others. He's invested a lot of time in the other states too, because there were really no other campaigners.
Let me put this to you. We can't fully understand why Mr. Modi won so convincingly, and you've been good enough to admit that polarization can't explain it. I've actually pointed out that polarization
Partly explains it, but can't explain
not
it
even
fully.
partly, because polarization should have put the Dalits and Muslims off, yet they voted for him substantially.
That's why I don't understand why Dalits and Muslims are voting.
And the polarization really only happened from the 4th phase onwards, yet he swept the first 3 phases as well.
As I said, even in the first phase, Muzaffarnagar is part of the first phase.
Let's reverse the question. Why has this been such a shattering performance for Congress?
I'll tell you why. Because we, when we went into this election, last election we had won 29 seats. In the meantime, 11 people had left us, right? Some of them went to BJP, some of them went to the BSP. We were left with about 18 or 19. So when we went into this election, we had 18 seats out of 403. And remember, we've not been in power for almost 20 years in Uttar Pradesh. So the election result doesn't reflect on the performance, on our performance in Uttar Pradesh, because we've not been in government. But please let me answer. But the fact of the matter is, we should have used these 20 years to build the organization in Uttar Pradesh.
Which you haven't.
Which we haven't. Which we have failed to do. We should have built, we have, in these 20 years, maybe we should have built a regional leadership, which we haven't. Right? And in all, on elect. So therefore there is something we should have done in 20 years, which we haven't.
You're good enough to point out that you should have built a leadership, you didn't. You should have built an organization, you didn't. And therefore, that is where you effectively ensured you weren't going to do well. But the corollary is that you couldn't have done much better than the single digits you won because you didn't do all of this.
I agree. So I'm accepting
So
that.
you're also then saying that, looked at rationally, Congress could never have expected to do better than the 6 or 7 seats you
I
won.
can't say 6 or 7, because we thought that if Samajwadi Party and we both tied together, we may actually surge up to 100 or 120.
Because you'd be piggybacking on Samajwadi.
True. Why would we have an alliance
But
otherwise?
you ended up not piggybacking on a horse, but on a tattoo that was collapsing.
Well, let's not use that word. But if the fact is, if we thought we could fight on our own, we would have fought on our own. But we realized that we can't get many seats with 18 seats out of 403. So we had an alliance. It hasn't worked. That's all that there is.
This is very interesting, and I'm repeating it because I think it's important for the audience to understand. You explain away the shattering outcome for Congress on the grounds that you had 20 odd years to build an organization, you didn't. You had 20 odd years to put in place a local, regional, effective leadership, and you didn't.
Right.
As a result of not doing these 2 critical things, actually the truth is, you couldn't really have expected to do much better than the single-digit performance you've got in.
No, we expected to do much better, because we had originally got 28 in the last election, and in the hope that in alliance with SPT, Samajwadi Party, because he was talking...
Your hopes were invested in the alliance.
That's right. So
and the alliance didn't deliver.
Didn't deliver. So it didn't work. We didn't deliver, period. I mean, it's a fact. Why I'm not here to start sort of castigating the BJP or anybody. The fact is that we have not been able to deliver as we should have.
So then the other conclusion is that the alliance actually was extremely disappointing.
Was.
Do you feel let down by your alliance partner?
No, not
because
at
you were
all.
hoping he would deliver more and he didn't.
Not at all. Not at all. We don't feel let down at all. Who can feel let down with this kind of an astounding verdict? We can only marvel at their victory. We can't blame people that we allied with. We have no regrets on that.
Most commentators, and no doubt many silently within your party, as yet they haven't broken ranks and gone public, would say that this outcome raises serious questions about Rahul Gandhi's leadership, as well as his capacity and capability to A, campaign, and B, deliver votes. On both counts, he hasn't delivered anything.
Karan, I think we always in these discussions come back to individuals.
Well, right? No, he's more than an individual.
One second.
He heads your party.
No, let's not. See, remember this. Elections are won through various ways. There's the organizational aspect.
Which was missing.
There is a leadership, regional leadership
Which was
aspect.
missing.
And then there is the aspect as how, whether you can actually catch the imagination of the people.
And that didn't happen.
That also did not happen. So it didn't happen.
And
so
I
the Congress
understand-
party is to blame.
Absolutely.
So,
And I understand all of that.
Now, supposing
But
I were to say...
but can I put it as this?
One second. Supposing I were to say to you, it is because of Rahul Gandhi that we won Punjab. Supposing I were to say to you. That also it would not be true.
Absolutely. It's because of Amarinder Singh.
Not just
and you
because,
know it.
Not just it's better organization in Punjab, regional leadership plus the national leadership. So I don't think you can blame the national leadership for everything, or you attribute victory to the national leadership.
Can I put it like this? Whose role and responsibility was it to create the organization? Whose role and responsibility was it to create the local leadership? And if it didn't happen, who should take the blame?
But
Surely the vice president and president of the party.
So Modi should take the blame for the loss in Punjab.
At the end of the day,
Modi
Mr. Modi will have to accept a measure of responsibility.
So all of us do. The organization does. The leadership does. All of us
How
do.
much of the
I accept
how much of the responsibility for the shattering outcome in UP lies with the president and the vice president of the party?
Ask them.
I'm asking you.
I'm answering. As far as I'm concerned, I have failed the Congress party.
No doubt. But you weren't in a position to do very much because you aren't important in the UP Congress.
That's not the
Rahul
point.
Gandhi is vice president. He's a local MP. He led the campaign.
This question you put to him, I've answered all your questions.
Okay. Let's move away from Rahul Gandhi, because obviously until the culture of the Congress changes, the Congress will never accept in public that Mr. Gandhi says.
There's no... See, look at the culture of all political parties. Let's not sort of let's have this match like that.
Let's come to the line of campaigning argument that was put forward. Rahul Gandhi took a very anti-demonetization line. He called demonetization economic loot. At another point, he called it firebombing the poor. That didn't work with the people of UP.
Yes.
Would you accept now with hindsight that this anti-demonetization line was wrong? It didn't work. It didn't produce results.
But it's the truth. It's the loot of the country.
It may be the truth to you. It may be the truth to me. It wasn't to the people of UP.
I don't think that had any impact in the light of the kind of...
It had no impact. That's what I'm saying.
Once again, let me answer it. When you touch people's emotions, when you have a polarized agenda, you talk about religious denominations, and you do the kind of things that Modi was doing, all this will be forgotten.
But a moment ago you said the victory can't be explained by polarization. Now you're using polarization to explain the fact that demonetization
only by polarization. Please, Karan, please understand what I said. I said it can't be explained only by polarization. It is beyond polarization also.
But the point,
not that polarization didn't happen.
Except that I'm making a slightly different point. I'm saying so much of Rahul Gandhi's campaign stressed upon a critique of demonetization, and I'm saying that didn't sway the people.
Doesn't matter.
Was he wrong to put so much emphasis on it?
There's no question of wrong or right. It's the truth. I think you should tell the truth. It didn't work. It didn't work.
Except it's the truth the people of UP didn't recognize.
Maybe so. But the fact it is the truth. I would say it in Parliament also, that it was loot. And I continue to say so.
A second aspect of Rahul Gandhi's campaign was a very strong, almost personal attack on Mr. Modi himself. He called him Gabbar Singh. He compared him to a mouse. Earlier, he's called him Hitler. A few months ago, he actually accused him of personal corruption. Once again, it didn't wash with the people of UP.
It's all right.
Do you think it was a mistake to take this line?
No, it's all right. I think that the fact that Narendra Modi said so many things about Rahul Gandhi and about Akhilesh, and the fact that they sort of hit back at him.
Except that may have worked.
It's all right. So it works. Some things work, some things don't work. That's what electoral process is all about.
So there was nothing wrong with it. So you do accept, at any rate, even if you won't say it's a mistake, you do accept that the anti-demonetization line and the anti-Modi line didn't work.
In the light of the emotive verdict that we have seen, obviously it didn't.
Let me put you two thoughts that many commentators have come up with today itself. Rahul Gandhi famously, and some would say at the time extremely cleverly, characterized this government as a soot boot ki sarkar. He was making it look as if it was a government for the rich, divorced from the interests and the care of the poor. The UP results show that Congress's famous platform of caring for the poor has been comprehensively stolen by Mr. Modi.
I think, Karan, that you are sort of extrapolating the result in too broad, with a very broad brush, which you should not. Remember, politics changes in a day. One day is too long in politics. So I think while we should congratulate the BJP and congratulate Modi and Amit Shah for what they were able to do for reasons that I cannot explain even today, please don't take it to such a level as if they are the unquestioned leaders of India.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Or that every election in the state will be won by them.
I wasn't saying that Mr. Modi is the unquestioned leader of India. I was saying that the clever attempt to characterize Modi as pro-rich and anti-poor by calling it a soot-boot ki sarkar has slightly fallen on its face because the poor have overwhelmingly voted for Modi in UP.
The poor have not voted for him in Punjab. So why are you extrapolating everything to as if this is the final verdict? The poor have not voted for him. His chief minister is lost in Goa.
And your chief minister lost both his seats in Uttarakhand.
And let me tell you, demonetization has worked in Goa. Because of demonetization, in fact, the entire tourism industry came to a standstill. And that's the verdict you saw. So some places it worked, some places it doesn't work.
The second comment that people make is that Congress, looking back, fought a negative campaign. You were anti-demonetization, you were anti-Modi, but you didn't put across a message of your own. You didn't lay out an agenda of things you stand for. You instead identified things you were against.
Jo jeeta, wohi Sikandar.
Bilkul, hamesha.
Therefore, in Punjab, there were these personal attacks. We made those personal attacks also against the Badals. AAP also made those personal attacks. Our personal attacks worked in Punjab. AAP's did not work. So, see, we, on a TV channel, let's not reduce results to black and white. It doesn't happen like that.
There are shades of grey in between.
There are so many complex factors that are at play.
The big question, and I've deliberately left it to the end, it's one that the Congress party has faced increasingly since your defeat in 2014, is, are there question marks about the utility of the Gandhis at the top of the party? I will accept and concede that perhaps without the Gandhis, you might not remain a united party. They are the cement and the glue that unite Congress. The problem is, increasingly it's becoming apparent, they don't appeal to the country. Do you need a new set of leaders?
Increasingly you ask these questions, and this is for the Congress party to decide.
Absolutely.
Not for Kapil Saibal to comment on. Okay.
Now this is a very interesting answer you're giving me.
Yes.
When you say this is for the Congress party to decide, are you also saying that this is an issue the Congress must sit down and face?
I'm not saying anything of the sort. I said the Congress party will take up these issues and decide what to do.
Would you encourage?
You are trying to put words in my mouth.
I'm simply trying to clarify the unexpressed thought at the back of your mind.
No, not at all. As an individual, cannot possibly comment on issues of this nature, especially of personalities and my own leaders, unless the Congress party itself looks at why it failed in Uttar Pradesh, what were the reasons, how we should move forward. These are issues that the party will decide.
These are therefore issues on which the party must sit down fairly urgently and spend a lot of time and effort agonizing over.
All range of issues, every issue.
And one of the questions when you do that you have to ask yourselves is, after 2014, after what happened in Maharashtra, Haryana and several other states including Assam, and now most importantly of all after UP, can you win in 2019 under the Gandhis, or do you need someone to replace Rahul?
Let's not deal with that issue.
Well, if you don't deal with it today, you'll have a problem then.
You let us deal with it the way we want to deal with it, not on news channels. But be that as it may, don't take this result. You see, there is always a tide in the affairs of men.
Which taken at the flood leads on to fortune, omitted, and the journey of your lives is spent in shallows and miseries.
May I tell you,
you're stuck in shallows and miseries.
Even a shooting star fades away, and what goes up comes down. Remember that. Nothing lasts forever, including you and me.
But you know, if you're simply going to wait for what goes up to come down,
I'm simply going to wait.
You'll be waiting till 2024.
Don't worry, I'm not simply waiting. I don't say I'm simply wait. A shooting star takes very little time to fade. It doesn't take too long.
As someone who's one of the more thoughtful members of the Congress party and one of the few on this day, which is a very sad day for your party, prepared to speak.
Of course.
What do you think are the 3-4 critical steps you need to take over the next few weeks and months?
I think, one, we must, and we haven't done this for a long time, I think we must actually identify our leaders in the states, which we've not done.
And gear them up to become regional leaders?
Give them the freedom.
Okay.
Not just gear them, give them the freedom.
Actual autonomy.
Actual autonomy.
They look after their regions, they decide for the
Give them
region.
the responsibility, right? Let them do that. We did it with Namarinder and he has produced results. 2, I think at the organizational level, we are very weak in many states. And and part of the reason is that we have not taken decisions on time. I think so. We need to take timely decisions at the organizational level. Two, we must now decide that whoever can deliver, right, should be put in charge, right? Now, the greatest quality of a leader is his ability to identify people who can deliver various things. See, everybody can't deliver on the same thing. I may be a good organization man, somebody else may be a good...
Identify those who can and empower them.
And empower them.
And then give them the autonomy to do it.
Give them the autonomy and have trust in them. And have trust in them. So I think in this apart, have our people go into the states, right? At the, let them spend a year or two in the states in which they are charged with that responsibility.
Rather than sit in Delhi.
Rather than sit in Delhi. I think all these things. And more articulation in Parliament. More articulation over the media. Right? And a different narrative, if I may say so.
In other words, express and talk about what you think should be done rather than simply criticize what the government's doing.
I always believe in politics like what Gandhiji did. If you stick to the truth and you stick to what you think should be done, no matter what happens, and carry it forward, you'll always succeed.
The corollary that lies behind all the points you made is that you need less control by the high command.
No, look, it's a collective thing. A party is run collectively, and that's what we all need to do.
But collectively, you need to ensure greater autonomy and empowerment of regional leaders, which means less control by the high command of the centre.
No, I think that should be the natural way of actually empowering your own people to empower the people of the country.
You're sharing these thoughts with me. Would you also raise them behind closed doors with your own party?
We always do. We always do.
Do you think the Gandhis will be amenable to reducing their power in the interest? Because that's what it amounts to.
Look, let's not talk about all these things. The fact of the matter is, whatever we have to raise, we will raise. We have raised them before. We believe that the Congress is alive and kicking, and
just about
a few losses here and there in the course of politics is something that we should take in our stride. And having said that, we congratulate the BJP for its
my last issue. Mayawati today, in a famous speech and press conference, accused the EVMs. She said that they only registered BJP votes no matter what button you pressed. Is that a line the Congress party endorses?
No. See, let's not. We can't make these allegations till we have proof.
So
right? Somebody, for example, send me on the social media, and I have it on Twitter, that somebody is pressing the button of a political party, but the button for the BJP is glowing, right? But I took no note of it. So
at the moment you have no proof to make this allegation?
No, I don't think that anybody should make serious allegations against anybody till such time.
Except your defeated Chief Minister Uttarakhand, Harish Rawat, talked about what he called EVM ki chamatkar. What on earth does he mean?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what he said.
Sounds to me as if he's supporting Mayawati.
What he doesn't say, but I think as a political party...
He said it. EVM ki chamatkar suggests some sort of EVM miracle.
Well, we've been talking to people in Uttarakhand, and I've talked to lots of people myself, and we had, thought that we would do quite well in Uttarakhand.
Oh, that's another thing. But are you saying that the reason you didn't is because EVM ki chamatkar happened?
Did I say that?
No, but I'm asking you because your Chief Minister did.
My Chief Minister, you ask him why he said so. I'm just giving you a response on your question.
No, I'm just asking a simple question.
Unless we have proof of this kind of manipulation, I don't think we should air it.
So talking about EVM ki chamatkar without proof is wrong?
I don't know what he said, what he didn't say. I'm not aware of it.
But you also are making clear that at the moment you don't have grounds to endorse it.
I have no knowledge. I don't think the Congress party as an organization has knowledge of this.
At the moment, at any rate, this is not the Congress party's official line.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, how can a political party take a position without proof, especially on an allegation as serious as this?
All right, Kapil Saibal, let's leave it there. A pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.